Yeah, 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 yeah. Beautiful intro to this beautiful video. All right, this kind of just got released, I guess, when I started streaming, so it's a little bit of an impromptu, but it's iDubbbz talking about, I guess he's referring to other people saying, I miss the old iDubbbz, and I guess it's a video about his old silly goose past. And, you know, listen, I do understand it, because I've had my own rough past on TikTok, and I used to talk about it all the time. About how bad of a guy I was. A bad guy. I was a really bad guy back then, you know? So I would always talk about that. And then at a certain point, you know, my audience said to me, they said, Papa God, you got to just stop. You know, you said what you said, and some people are going to believe you and agree with you, and some people just don't want to do that. And I said, wow, that was excellent advice. And so I don't really talk about it too much now. Every once in a while I'll talk about it. But I don't talk about it in a way that suggests that, like, I'm super ashamed of it. Because I am. It is what it is. But, like, what can you do? You know, life moves on. And I feel like, you know, iDubbbz, the majority of his recent content has really just been very much about the old iDubbbz. And he's probably, and about how he was a bad and blah, 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 blah. And I get it. I understand it. I feel you on that one. Okay? Wow, that's really cool. Look at this bear. Okay. But, sorry, I got a little distracted. But I think it comes to a point where it's time to stop talking. It's time to move on a little bit. You know, hey, we get it, bad past, but I feel like sometimes, you know, maybe it's time to move on. Time to move on to the next thing. Don't you come in this dungeon, I swear on my mother's life. And that's it.
For a while, I felt like if I changed my content over time, that people would see that as a reflection of who I am and what I value. But I'm starting to realize that that is a very weak and passive way to, you know, run my channel and live my life.
I mean, but that's not what happened, though, right? You've been talking about it a lot, so this isn't even necessarily true, right? Like,
so I think it's, you know, if I'm going to have the balls to go to Tana's fan meetup and say slurs at her and then make a video about how it's okay to say slurs, I think I should have the balls to make an apology video and take accountability for the mistakes I've made. So that's what this video is.
Invite me, guys.
I've realized that I need to be crystal clear about what I believe, so there's no room for ambiguity. I am responsible for creating a lot of hurtful and damaging content on this channel, and I've also created a culture of apathy and, I don't know, a lot of, like, cruelty as well. Like, you know, some of the videos I've made have been very, not edgy. I don't think they you know, some of these videos were edgy. I think they were just outright cruel. So I don't want people to, you know, get it confused about, you know, where I stand. I have made some cruel, hurtful content, and I need to acknowledge that, and I'm really sorry.
For whatever reason, that guy, despite the fact that this is not a PvP dungeon, decided to come attack me. Like, what do you think you are, dude?
That it's taken me this long to acknowledge it. The content I'm talking about specifically.
But again, like, you have acknowledged it a few times. You talked about it a few hundred times, you know?
Content cop videos and videos where I was just generally criticizing people for very lackluster reasons, and you know, obviously didn't have any accountability online whatsoever on my end.
Okay.
I was morally grandstanding and acting as if I am any better than any of these people that I was making content cop videos on, and I'm not. I'm a human. I'm a real human who makes mistakes, and you know, I make a different set of mistakes than the people I was making videos on. But it doesn't matter. I don't think anyone deserves that level of cruelty or hate. It's also indoctrinated a lot of people.
What about Hitler, iDubbbz? Huh? You don't think he deserves that kind of hate, dude? This guy's freaking anti-Semitic. Are you guys kidding me right now? This is wild. I can't believe I can't believe he's saying this stuff. I remember watching some of his content cop stuff. I feel like there's probably some people that he talked about that were much worse. There's some that are universally bad people on the internet. I'm sure you can think of at least one. So I feel like, yeah, I would say, and this was something that took me a while to realize, because I think that this is probably something he would identify with more, or maybe just as much, is that when I used to make my content on edgy jokes, for most of the edgy jokes I made were, like, well-intentioned. I was just having some fun, making a few edgy jokes here and there. And I wasn't trying to actually be racist. I just grew up in a place where we all would make fun of each other and have fun, and it was cool. And I would make edgy jokes, and I didn't really realize, but most people, or I don't know if it's most, but enough people would listen to my jokes and actually think I was racist. And it took me a long time to believe, because I was like, no way. Like, these people know that I'm just like making a little joke, and that, especially since I would also use my platform to talk about like progressive issues on TikTok specifically. I was like, yeah, no way. But then you kind of get older and you start to realize, like, wow, like I was wrong. Some of them are a little rough. And, there's a certain, yeah, sometimes the wrong demographic will look at your content, and they'll actually believe that, it is what you're saying, and, based on the jokes. And now I still make some edgy jokes here and there, but I make those edgy jokes in my long form content. So like when I make like a silly joke about whatever, like then the rest of it is usually, you'll know I'm kidding. Especially since I make sure I say I'm kidding. And some people might be like, oh, that kills a joke. I don't care. Like that, I would prefer it to, because I really just don't want people to think I'm actually trying to be like racist or anything. I'm just being a little bit of a silly goose, so.
Into thinking that this is an okay way to behave. And it's not. It's super irresponsible and shitty. I am very insecure about my ability to create interesting content or like entertain. It's gotten better over the years, but it's something that I have struggled with constantly. And it's one of the reasons why I, kept making this hurtful content. I ended up pivoting it into other things because I felt bad about it, like innately. But it's still something that I struggle with, and I don't want you to interpret that as an excuse, but I hope that that is relatable to other creators who maybe struggle with the same thing. I'm not confident in my ability to entertain, and I think if I had to rely on my personality to entertain people, that I wouldn't have any amount of success.
That's interesting. I think I can identify with some of that nowadays. Like I've played with the idea of trying to return to TikTok, but I just don't have the confidence to do it anymore. And like I've been getting a couple viral TikToks based on like these clips I've been posting, but like they're just the wrong audience, man. There's people that are like, they look at it and they just take it and they run with it. Like you really just can't make like an edgy joke without people really like just being such terrible people. And so now I'm not sure I could entertain people outside of being, a little bit of an edgy goofball. So I haven't really done TikTok. My wife and I made a TikTok for our channel, like Rob and Dan, and it's TikTok.com/ at Rob and Dan 63. And that's fun. It's a little different, but that's fun. But yeah, I don't know if I can necessarily make like I don't know how entertaining I could be. Although I guess I'm doing YouTube and I'm not boxing, so I guess I feel like I can be somewhat entertaining. I guess, but I kind of get that.
And that is really hard to come to terms with. I was being very bigoted in a lot of my videos, and I justified it because I didn't think it was too serious, and I thought that people were going to see that I had good intentions.
Yeah.
But that's so silly. Casual racism is still racism. Casual bigotry is still bigotry. And I said a lot of things that I look back at and I cringe now, and I'm like, that is an awful thing to say. It doesn't matter what my intentions are. Like if I'm hurting people, I'm hurting.
Well, your intentions do matter. But here's what I'll say: I don't look back at my old stuff because I can't turn around. I'm too fucking fat, dude. So, nanny boo boo.
Who the fuck knows what my intentions are? Like sarcasm and like jokiness and jokey tone only goes so far, especially over the internet. Even in real life, that's like an impossible thing to know with 100% certainty.
Well,
I've just always had
in the real world, it's a little different because you usually are going to talk to a smaller group of people in a more long form capacity, so it's like a little bit different in the real world. But I get what you're saying.
Dumb philosophy that I'm not responsible for, my audience and how they behave beyond what content I put out, and that's stupid. And it's led to a lot of hate and a lot of bad outcomes. And I just want to make it clear that I am absolutely responsible for my audience. And I guess if you want to, look out for people who are red flags, it's definitely people who had my mentality that say, I'm not responsible for what my audience does. I know that this apology isn't enough. I've clearly done a lot of damage.
I don't think it's that big of a deal. I mean, maybe he has done like significant damage, I guess. I don't know. Like, I don't think that guys, just not enough. I need to do more than apologize. I don't know, man. I think that you clearly were an influential figure, and I do understand that. But at the end of the day, like, I don't know. I mean, I feel like you don't have to, chastise yourself over this whole thing. That's at least what this video kind of comes off as.
These videos have been up for a long time and have accumulated millions of views. I shouldn't be able to just make an apology video and walk away from it. This is something that I should live the rest of my life with. And I expect
Silly daddy.
I've profited off of this bigoted content for years.
Donated all
I've
then.
made a successful
Hassan.
career out of it. And that's not right. I think that this is only a step in the right direction, and I know that a lot more needs to be done to even approach a life that I would think would be like acceptable. I am running ads on this video, and any revenue generated from this video, I'm going to match and donate to an organization that would have been particularly affected by the type of rhetoric that I've been spewing on this channel. And again, this isn't the end of what I'm doing. This is just the start. I don't feel like a lot of this content represents me as a person, at least not anymore. There was a time where it probably perfectly represented me because I was a nasty, apathetic, insecure person. Now that I don't feel like it represents me and I want to distance myself from it and keep it from...
Apparently this is these guys' map, they said? How does that work? That it's somebody's map. We paid for this. Should I leave this map? They're saying it's for them and that it's not for me. Should I leave this map? Is that how this game works? I'll leave. Okay.
From, indoctrinating more people. I'd like to unlist the videos so that people, can access them still for whatever, purposes they might want to do that for. But it's not being proliferated on the website. I feel like that's the best solution, at least for the time being. And for anyone who liked those videos, I want this video to be an example and a lesson for you. You can like content, but you can also think that it's irresponsible and it's hurting other people. So just tap into that part of your brain that's saying like, oh, okay, it's probably not that important.
Do I think his girlfriend has influenced his content shift? Yeah, probably. But like the real question is, do you think that that's bad? Is it a bad thing that his girlfriend has influenced his content shift? Because like I always talk about, like I feel like I'm a better man now that I'm with my wife. So like he might feel the same way. So there's nothing wrong with that. I don't think. Right? I think that that's perfectly reasonable. So
this video stays online because truthfully, I've seen it, I've experienced the content, but it's done a lot of damage. We can just let it go. I'm sorry to everyone that I made content cop videos on. I still don't like the majority of you, and that's fine, but I can recognize that you did not deserve the hate and harassment that I sent your way. I particularly want to apologize to Tana.
I don't really, I mean, is that true? I wouldn't know because I didn't really engage in YouTube at that time. But is that true? Are there really no people that were real pieces of shit that deserve some kind of criticism at all? Like why not? I don't understand. It seems like there's got to be at least some. I feel like that's a little disproportionate. Be like, nah, none of you really deserve the hate. There's probably some that deserve the hate. I wouldn't know. I don't know any of them. But come on, there's got to be some. There's got to be some.
Tana, I'm sorry. I should have never made that video. I harassed Tana in person and then harassed her online, and that's based deplorable behavior. It's so stupid. I'm also sorry to all the black viewers and minority groups who had to put up with that video and put up with the phrases. I said either it's all okay or none of it's okay. And that's just so dangerous and stupid. I have made content that I'm proud of over the years. It hasn't been as consistent as maybe I'd like it to have been. But, there is a lot of content that I think had a net positive on the world. And, I'm going to strive to continue on that trend. But again, I'm absolutely going to continue to make mistakes, but I want the mistakes to be a lot smaller and a lot less serious. I also want to give some clarity to the post-fight speech that I gave. I mean, it wasn't a speech. It was a phrase. I was like,
I know I'm not everyone's cup of tea, but I really do appreciate the support, and, thank you for coming.
That was addressing the people over the years that I neglected and I left behind.
All right.
The people whose feelings...
A little sappy here, but also I guess I can kind of understand it because you just got out of a fight, and I'm sure like your adrenaline's high and everything. I feel like we're at a point though where like he's being a little disproportionate in his hatred of himself. It's a little much. It's almost it seems to be getting a little too. What is this? Is this a secret area? Oh, I'm bussing. Holy fuck! I've never seen this before. I feel like it's a little. You don't have to beat yourself up this much. It comes off as a little too much here. But okay.
I, didn't take into consideration. Those are the people who I was addressing as, I know I'm not everyone's cup of tea. Anyone who thinks that I should be shouting the N-word from the rooftops, I don't want to be your cup of tea.
I think you're better off just saying it on the ground so that people can hit you if you actually did it. You know what I mean? Are there a lot of people that really want him to be that racist? Is that most people that are like, oh, I missed the iDubbbz when he used to be like outwardly racist, or are they just saying I miss iDubbbz when he wasn't so like sensitive? I guess I don't really know. I don't talk to the 13-year-old boys, So I guess who would want him to do that? But is it that bad? What is it? What is going on? I'm not in tune with that audience enough. I have an older female audience now because of my wife. So I don't have as many young men anymore. I don't know. Weird though. Okay, whatever.
I want to talk about events and situations that have happened over the past 5 years of my life that have led me to the place I'm at now. One year I was at a convention and a bunch of fans were, wanting pictures, and this particular fan came up to me and said, "I know you probably don't like transgender people, but can I, get a picture?" That smacked me in the face. I was like, "Oh, holy shit. Why would you think that?"
That's
it's fairly obvious.
horrible.
I was being cruel, hateful, bigoted, and being very uncaring about people's feelings.
That's sad. I think that would fuck me up too. That would definitely fuck me up. That would if I had like a trans fan or something, and they were like, "Hey, I know you probably don't like me. We're gonna have a picture." I think I would cry. I think I would actually cry. That would make me upset. That's horrible. That's terrible. Jesus, especially since they're willing to put aside their interpretation that you might be some kind of bigot and be like, "I still like your content so much, but you hate me." That's fucking terrible. I'd never want anybody to like actually think I hate them. That's terrible. Unless like I actually hate them, but I don't hate fans. Okay, except for Kate. No, I'm just kidding. I haven't seen Kate in a while though. So anyway, but I like Linda. All right, guys, you know Linda. Hey, Linda. That's Linda. Dude, I fucking hate this game right now.
Is a very fair assessment to make. I was giving this person bad vibes, and I think I've given a lot of people extremely bad vibes.
I would
Another
cry.
Event
Shut up.
That was very important for me to experience was I went on a boxing podcast. I was basically like trying to walk back my Tana content comment.
I prefer like the circular
I was
podcasts.
Still very like insecure and uncomfortable with the fact that I made that video.
Triangle podcast.
And but I was still coping. You'll see me struggle in this clip to say that it was wrong.
So I just wanted to let you talk on that, right? Because obviously using the N-word is definitely frowned upon by a lot of people, especially by a non-African American. But I was just curious.
That was a very weird video because I wanted to like criticize her for her like sort of flagrant use of it. I've been pretty flagrant about it too, not in the same way. And I thought there was a message to be shared there, and I don't think it was particularly. It was okay in criticizing her, but I think I probably wasn't the person to deliver the message, if that makes sense. There was a message that I was trying to put out there, and like I'm not really the person to put out that message.
What happened with Tana Mongeau? Like what did she say it like the day before, or did she say it in like a rap song like 6 years ago? What's the context there? Do you guys know? Like when did Tana Mongeau say the no phrase word?
At making the video, I think there's bits and pieces to take from it that I think are valuable, but I probably wouldn't make it these days.
I'm very grateful to those guys and how they broached the subject because it didn't put me on the defensive. It just made me realize like I'm stupid, and I really need to like acknowledge these things. Like what am I doing? I'm still trying to make excuses for myself and like why I made that video. It's like it was a dumb idea. I harassed someone. I was saying slurs and I was trying to justify it all. A very big thing that has sort of altered my view on all of this is just the amount of hate and harassment.
She said it quite a bit in her younger years, but like what younger years and which version of it? You know what I mean? That's important. Was she singing rap songs? Because listen, when I'm listening to Childish Gambino, I, of course, censor myself in the car when I'm alone. Like, why? Because, you know, you never know who's listening. But I guess she was pretty racist. Well, she's a white girl. You know, white girls are always racist. White blondes are always racist. She gets a pass just because it's expected of her. You know what I mean? I'm just kidding.
Vanessa has received over the years. She's had to deal with it from
Wild times,
the beginning of our relationship, and I have done a horrible job at acknowledging
Not
her
in a
and
rap
her
song?
feelings
Oh,
for
that's
it.
rough.
A lot of the time, I just thought that was her
That's
problem,
rough.
or that was you know, other people's problem. Like, it's not my problem that you're getting hate and harassment. And it's like, no, it absolutely is. You know, that's the culture that I cultivated, and I, you know, didn't do anything to change that. You know, over the years, it's changed a little bit.
I mean, listen. I think that people can be forgiven, especially using the no word back then. But I'm a white guy, so, like, what do I really know? But, I mean, it sounds like if she was just blasting off the N-word with the hard R, which is what my audience is saying, I cannot confirm. Maybe she deserved a little bit of the backlash, no? Like, a little bit. It's okay. She survived. I think she's okay. Right? That seems fair. If she was blasting it off, you could be like, yeah, I shouldn't have used it as well. But no.
You know, I don't think I've still fully acknowledged how responsible I am for the amount of harassment that Anissa has had to deal with. And this year, I decided to speak more candidly and be more open about who I am as a person, and to speak on my life a little bit more. And I did that on Anthony Padilla's podcast.
These are the people that I'm attracting. These are the people that I'm entertaining. Like, I need to reevaluate things. They're relating and enjoying this content for a reason, and that's not maybe the same reason that I'm trying to make.
I guess you don't know the story. Somebody that I don't think is familiar with iDubbbz. So basically, there's like a video where this girl Tanamangu, who apparently, from what you guys are saying, would say the N-word a lot. He went to like a convention that she was hosting, and he wanted to get a picture, put his hand around her, and said like "say," and then said the hard R because like she would say it, and that's what he's apologizing for. That's what he's talking about. So,
Wild West mentality when it came to online behavior.
Yeehaw.
People are going to do what they want to do. People are going to say what they want to say. And I can pretty much do the same because it's the internet. But I think you have to be a lot more responsible.
If you guys are at all interested in how I've arrived here, that video gives, you know, a good bit of context and talks about some of my life a little bit. There is a clip from this interview that's been floating around the internet, and it's
this is apology for what exactly? For that. I guess somebody could find that, but that's what it is. He's apologizing because he used to have this segment called Content Cop, where he would go and he would criticize other content creators that he felt were bad. And he's saying in this specific case that he felt like he went too far, basically. And it was, he was trying to expose her in some capacity by saying the word in front of her because she said it, I guess, in her past. So
calling my fans antisocial and basement dwellers, and I was like, I didn't like, you know, interacting with my fans. I just want to be clear, like, that was my realization. I think a lot of people are like, of course that happened, is because you were creating that culture and you were attracting those people. And it's like, yes, I know. I know now. I didn't know before. It was my realization upon, you know, meeting more and more fans that I was like, oh shit, you guys are struggling. It was easy for me to identify them struggling when they were outside of my body. But the antisocial basement-dwelling incel that was inside here, I couldn't acknowledge that. I couldn't recognize that. So I needed the mirror to be held up to me. In closing, I want to say that I have always thought that I was an empathetic person because I thought, well, I get angry, I get sad. Of course I got empathy. Seems easy, right? Empathy. I definitely have that. There were moments where like a dog would die in a film and I'd cry. So it's like, of course I have empathy.
Cringe.
But I never did. I think only in these past couple of years have I gained the ability, empathy, and I'm very ashamed to admit that. It sounds,
I wonder if I stole someone's
sounds really
dungeon.
pathetic to say at the age of 32 I've acquired empathy, but I have, and I've realized it because I just like can't help myself but like feel for other people's pain and suffering now. I'm still not perfect. I think that is, you know, my empathy meter's only maybe like a quarter of the way filled up potentially, but it's at least there. And I just want you guys to know that you can unlock ability empathy if you experience more life.
What the fuck is happening? Is he becoming a guru? Like, holy shit. I know that he's upset with himself, but Jesus Christ. Oh my God. He's really going in an interesting direction here. Like, all right, cool. Nice guy, iDubbbz, I guess.
It might take you getting hurt a little bit, but it's worth it. It is so worth it. So thank you for watching, everyone. I do want to create more regular content, and I don't want to just have the next 5 videos be apologies. So I have uploaded a squirrel video on my second channel. If you want to watch that. I guess as one final thing, I just want to thank everyone who's given me the space and the compassion to grow as a person, because it's taken longer than it probably should have. I appreciate everyone, and I think most importantly, I appreciate my wife, Anissa. She has been
that's
insanely
cringe, thinking your wife.
Compassionate and helpful and patient in allowing me to grow over the years, and has legitimately encouraged me to be a better person, and not a better person in just like the iDubbbz becoming woke kind of way. She was the one who said that I should try this boxing thing. I would have never done that on my own because I was insecure and I was pathetic.
Damn.
I did this, and I am so glad I did. It's been amazing.
All right, partner.
Anissa, I love you. You're amazing. Right now you're streaming, but bon voyage. Toodles.
Is this let me ask you a question, guys. Real question, and I don't usually prompt in the comments, but in the chat in the comments, am I that fucking cringe when I talk about my past? Like, I'm not trying to be like rude or anything, but am I that fucking cringe?